Okay, imagine this for a second. You're 15, you're lost, literally trampled in a huge city crowd. You've just run away from this awful child marriage situation.
Yeah.
And you're earning maybe 2 rupees a day, like almost nothing. Now picture that same person decades later, driving a Mercedes-Benz, to her office in like India's fanciest business district,
Yeah.
running this empire worth 1,000 crore rupees.
Which is just massive. For context, 1 crore is 10 million rupees, so that's 10 billion rupees, or roughly 120 million US dollars. It's a truly huge fortune built from absolute rock bottom.
Exactly. So today we're doing a deep dive into this extraordinary journey of Kalpana Saroj. She's an Indian entrepreneur, and her life story. It's not just about making money, right?
Not at all. It's really a story about resilience, like unbelievable determination, and how you can turn really terrible adversity into, well, unprecedented success.
Yeah.
And that's our mission today, basically. We want to unpack the key moments, the challenges that really shaped her life. I mean, from surviving a suicide attempt.
Which is incredible in itself.
To fighting literally the underworld and then somehow bringing back this massive failing industrial company from the dead.
Right.
But more than just telling the story, we're going to pull out the practical lessons, things anyone can use if they're facing obstacles, trying to build something. We've got some great sources, mainly diving into Milind Khandekar's book, Unlimited Imagination. It really chronicles her path, and it gives this kind of way forward for people wanting to become entrepreneurs.
Okay, so let's get into it. Her start in life, I mean, it was brutal. Married off at 12. Still in class 7, which is like, what, 7th grade?
Yeah, about that age. To a guy who was 22 in Mumbai. And she faced just horrific abuse from his family, her in-laws. Eventually got so bad she was forced back to her village, Guru Parkera.
But going back wasn't relief, was it?
No, not at all. In some ways, it was worse. The village people, they just tormented her. Taunts, ostracization. They basically blamed her for being sent back. Can you imagine?
That's awful.
It was crushing. And it led her to a really desperate place. She tried to kill herself, drunk pesticide at her aunt's house.
Oh, my God.
She survived, though. Woke up after nearly a day. And that was the turning point, she said later. It was then that I saw how ruthless the world could be. I had just tried to end my life, but no one had any sympathy for me.
Wow.
And that led to this core realization. She thought, sooner or later one has to die anyway, so why not achieve something substantial before dying? That's not just waking up. That's finding a purpose in the absolute depths of despair, turning it into drive.
It really is. And with that new determination, she decided to go back to Mumbai at 15.
Yeah, but even that wasn't easy. Her parents didn't want her to go. She actually had to threaten suicide again, told them she'd jump in front of a train if they didn't let her.
Just incredible resolve. So her second time in Mumbai.
Yeah.
Was it any easier?
No, just as raw, really. Got lost again on the train to Churchgate Station, pushed around, trampled. But then this moment of kindness happened. A woman saw her, took pity on her, and she taught her how to read the train indicators. Simple thing, right?
Yeah.
But Kalpana called it the mantra for winning the battle of life. It shows how vital just basic knowledge and maybe a little help can be.
And she learned fast. Her first proper job.
Yeah.
Stitching vests.
Yeah, at a hosiery factory, earning just 2 rupees a day, which, again, is practically nothing. And get this, she was initially fired because she didn't know how to stitch properly.
So what did she do? Give up?
No way! She begged them to let her do something else, anything. They let her remove thread ends, paid the same pitiful amount, but during lunch breaks when everyone else was out, she'd sneak over to the sewing machines and practice.
Resourceful.
Totally. Within a month, she was good enough. Asked for her stitching job back, and her pay jumped from 60 rupees a month to 225. She said, "This was the first time in my life that I'd seen a 100-rupee note."
Wow. That's progress. But what really pushed her towards starting her own business?
It was something heartbreaking, actually. Her younger sister, Asha, got sick, a stomach problem. The treatment cost 8,000 rupees. The family just didn't have it.
Oh, no.
And Asha died. Kalpana never forgot that feeling of helplessness. She decided right then she had to make enough money so that would never happen again. And she knew stitching vests wasn't going to cut it. It had to be business.
That's a powerful motivator.
Yeah.
So how did she make that leap?
Well, she took control. She met a Dalit activist, Dalit communities being historically marginalized in India,
Right.
And this activist helped her get a loan, 50,000 rupees from Allahabad Bank. With that, she opened a small furniture shop. Her angle was selling cheaper versions of expensive designs, and it worked. It really took off.
And her motivation?
Mm.
It wasn't just about the money, was it? She said something about helping people.
Yeah, exactly. She said, I have never done business only for the purpose of making money. I have seen poverty from such close quarters that my first desire is to help those in need. I mean, how much does that change things, do you think? Having that core drive beyond just profit.
It feels like it must make a difference, maybe in how you approach deals or who you work with.
I think so. And it seemed to open doors. Like in 1993, this big land deal in Kalyan. She bought agricultural land for 2.5 lakh rupees, that's 250,000 rupees, paid a 1 lakh advance. The seller needed money fast for his daughter's wedding. But the land was tricky, it was agricultural, had people living on it.
So lots of hurdles.
Oh, yeah. She spent 4 years wading through government red tape, bureaucracy to get it reclassified as industrial land, promised the shopkeepers who were there new shops if they moved, and when she finally got the approval, its value just exploded. To 50 lakh rupees. 5 million.
That's a massive return. But 4 years of bureaucracy?
Yeah.
That couldn't have been simple. Did that success bring other problems?
Definitely not simple. It was a constant fight. And yes, the success brought big problems like underworld attention. Seriously.
The underworld. You mean
Yeah.
gangsters?
Yeah. She got warnings. Go back to your village. Your life is in danger.
Hmm.
And then this really chilling line. Where you come from, the land is thirsty for water, but here, the land drinks blood.
Wow. That's terrifying. What did she do?
What Kalpana always seemed to do, she didn't back down, she went straight to the police. And the gangsters were actually arrested. It shows incredible bravery, right? Refusing to be intimidated.
Absolutely. And she turned that land, that source of conflict, into something major.
She did. That land became the site of Kohinoor Plaza, a shopping complex, which pushed the land's value up even more, from the initial 2.5 lakh to 5.5 crore rupees, 55 million rupees. That was her first really big profit-making venture. Took her from pennies a day to being a millionaire.
But the challenges didn't stop there, did they? Even with success, she faced discrimination.
No, the systemic stuff kept coming up. When she tried to buy a second piece of land, also in Kalyan, she hit that wall of caste discrimination again. A local politician from the Congress Party apparently questioned selling land to this Dalit woman.
So even after proving herself, building a business, facing down gangsters,
Yeah.
she's still dealing with that prejudice. How did she handle it this time?
Again, direct action. She didn't just accept it. She took her complaint right to the top, to the Congress Party president at the time, Sonia Gandhi.
Really? She went that high up?
She did. And Sonia Gandhi was apparently sympathetic. The state government got involved, told the local guy to back off. He withdrew the threats, and Kalpana was able to build 8 more buildings there. Made huge profits. It just shows, succeeding in that environment, especially for her, meant constantly fighting these social and political battles, too.
Okay, so that brings us to Kamani tubes. This challenge that people called insane. Workers from this defunct company approached her. It was drowning in debt, right? 116 crore rupees.
Yeah, 1.16 billion rupees in debt. And 566 employees, still technically on the books, but no work. Nobody wanted it. Investment bankers literally called it junk, so why would she even look at it?
Good question. What was the story behind Kamani tubes?
It actually had this really pioneering history, founded back in 1945 by Ramji Hansraj Kamani. He was a big deal in electricity transmission equipment, first in Asia to make it, helped electrify India. By the 70s, the Kamani group was huge. But after Ramji died in 66, family fights started. Things went downhill. Kamani tubes stopped production in 1985.
Okay, so it failed once.
Right. But then something really unusual happened. In 1988, the Supreme Court of India decided to hand the company over to the workers' union. Called it an experiment for them to chart their own destiny.
Wow, that's radical. Did it work?
Sadly, no. It ultimately failed again, and the company shut down for a second time in 1995. So Kalpana wasn't just taking on a failed company. She was taking on a twice-failed, debt-loaded, family feud-ridden industrial corpse.
Okay, insane might actually be the right word then. So how did she approach this impossible task? Did she get advice?
She did. She talked to her mentors. One, Bob Merrill Pachpute, basically asked her, why on earth would you get into this mess? How will you ever clear that debt?
Sensible question.
Very. But she was determined. She even got her Rocky brother in London.
That's like a symbolic brother, a close family-like bond.
Exactly, a really strong bond. She convinced him to invest, basically framing it as an act of charity. Told him straight up he'd be lucky to get his money back. Her logic seemed to be beyond just financial calculation.
So what was her main driver then? if not profit.
She said it herself, the welfare of 566 families. That seemed to be her core motivation, that commitment to people, which we saw earlier with her furniture business and helping the needy. So in 2000, the BIFR, that's the Board for Industrial and Financial Reconstruction, the government body for sick companies, they appointed her president. And she immediately faced two giant problems. The massive debt, obviously, and really tangled land ownership issues. The land wasn't even owned by Kamani Tubes itself.
Right, owned by other parts of the defunct Kamani Group. What a mess. So how did she tackle the debt first? That 116 crore.
She fought tooth and nail, worked constantly, negotiated it down to 55 crore rupees. And apparently most of that 55 crore was actually interest and penalties that had piled up, not even the original loan amount.
Still a huge number. And then there was that bulldozer incident.
Yeah, crazy story. She was away buying new machinery for the factory, and suddenly a bulldozer shows up ready to demolish the place. The union running another old Kamani company had apparently agreed to sell the land out from under her.
Unbelievable. How did she stop it?
Quick thinking. Her lawyer got an emergency 7-day stay order from the court. That led to a long court battle, but eventually she got 6 months to sort things out, which let her keep going. They actually got a new unit running in a place called Wada by 2009. It just shows every step was a fight.
And how long did this whole BIFR process take to get full control?
11 years. 11 years of constant negotiation, fighting legal battles, dealing with bureaucracy.
11 years for one company.
But she finally got full control in 2011. And look at it now.
Yeah, the turnaround is incredible. Turnover of 68 crore rupees, employing 225 people, production target of 3,000 tons a year. And she says their main competitor is China.
Right, not other Indian companies. That shows the scale they're operating at now.
And she didn't stop there. She expanded internationally.
Yep, set up Al Kamani in Kuwait. Why? To serve her clients in the oil business better, cut delivery time from 2 months down to just 2 days. Huge advantage.
Smart.
And then, for getting raw materials, specifically copper, she set up a company in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, going right to the source.
So her empire is really diverse now. It's not just Kamani Tubes.
Oh, far from it.
Yeah.
She has a steel rods factory, plans for big construction projects, a bauxite mining venture that's called Saishur Agriculture Private Limited on 1,200 acres of land she bought herself.
Wow.
And she's also a director in 2 sugar mills. She's built this incredibly diversified group.
And her family's involved now, too.
Yeah, her son's an Air India pilot. Her daughter trained in hotel management in the UK, now works at Kamani Tubes. And her son-in-law is the CEO of Kamani Tubes. It's become a family-involved enterprise, but clearly professionally run.
So what's the next big thing for her? Is she slowing down?
Doesn't sound like it. The book mentions her next venture, partnering with a Ukrainian company to build unmanned aerial vehicles, drones for the Indian Army, still pushing into complex, high-tech areas.
Amazing. Just constantly moving forward.
And her achievements, they've been recognized. In 2013, she received the Padma Shri, that's India's 4th highest civilian award, a really big national honor.
That's fantastic.
But what she said when she received it is really telling. She dedicated it to Babasaheb Ambedkar. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, who wrote India's constitution, fought for social justice.
A huge figure, especially for the Dalit community.
Exactly. She said, if Babasaheb Ambedkar was alive today, my success would have brought tears to his eyes. But for Babasaheb, we would be nothing today.
That's powerful. And she draws direct inspiration from his words, right? Things like living like a lion.
Yeah, she quotes him often. That one. Rather than live 100 days as a mouse, it was better to live 1 day like a lion. And another one, if you don't get it by right, grab it by might. Pretty strong stuff.
How does that translate into advice for, say, young Dalit people today who might look at her story?
Well, her message is really direct. She says, if you look for the way, you will find it. I was not educated. I was a Dalit and a woman. If I can do this, why can't anyone else? She's basically telling them, don't get stuck in the past victimhood, using information available now, believe in yourself. The time for crying is over, basically.
It's about agency, taking control.
Exactly. And she connects this to economic liberalization, too. She believes it creates equal opportunity for all, pointing out that Kamani Tubes competes with China now, not just local players, that the game has changed.
That's an interesting perspective, especially coming from her background.
And it leads to her point that, government support for Dalit entrepreneurs isn't just going to fall into their laps. They will have to step out. They need to be proactive. She gives the example of the lead industrialists who actually lobbied the government successfully to get a policy allocating 4% of government purchases specifically to delete manufacturers. That's self-advocacy in action.
So boiling it all down, her core philosophy for success is?
It seems to be this relentless persistence. She said, when you set out to scale a peak, you're bound to encounter obstacles. Most would be disheartened and go back. I don't give up and continue to move ahead. It's that refusal to quit, that constant forward movement that really defines her entire journey.
Okay, so that's Kalpana's incredible story. Now let's shift gears a bit and look at the practical takeaways from the book's epilogue. Actionable stuff for anyone listening who might be thinking about starting their own business.
Right. This is the way forward section. Really useful advice.
First up, some serious self-reflection. Ask yourself, why do I actually want to do business?
Yeah, this is key. Because it's not like a salary, right? Profit and loss hit you directly. Your livelihood depends on it. The book advises having at least a year's worth of basic living expenses saved up before you even start, just to cushion that initial period.
Good practical advice.
Yeah.
Then choosing the right business, not just following a trend.
Exactly. Choose something you understand well. The book breaks it down into 3 main types. First, manufacturing. Making physical things like Kalpana's copper tubes, or someone else mentioned Savita and Parmar, who makes tiles.
Okay.
Second, trading. Basically buying and selling stuff. Could be petrochemicals, could be anything.
Right.
And third, the service sector. Providing a service. Think hospitals, hotels, software, tutoring. This sector is huge in India, over half the GDP, and often maybe less capital needed to start up.
Makes sense. Once you have an idea, though, you can't just jump in. Market research is crucial, isn't it?
Absolutely vital. You have to do a market survey. Figure out, how big is the market?
Yeah.
Who are my competitors? Is demand growing, flat, or shrinking? Skipping this step is like a classic startup mistake.
Okay, so you've done your research. Now, your actual product or service. What's the key thing there?
It has to stand out. The book says your product must be much better or much cheaper than what's already out there.
So a clear advantage.
Yeah. They mention a guy, Melkit Chand, who made T-shirts that were better quality and lower price. That's how he got traction. You need that edge.
Got it. What about the nuts and bolts of actually producing something?
Well, if it's manufacturing, you need to think about raw materials, machinery, technical help. Where will it all come from? If it's a service business, your main asset is people. So hiring and training good staff is absolutely critical.
And then there's the red tape, location rules, permits.
Oh, yes. You need to check local government bylaws. Can you even operate where you want to? Industrial zone, commercial area. You'll probably need architectural plans, get approvals from the municipality. It all takes time and sometimes money.
Right. And speaking of money,
Yeah.
capital. How do you get funding?
That's often the million-dollar question, literally. You might use share capital selling ownership stakes, or get loans, or a mix. Big difference. Bank loans have fixed repayments no matter what. Shareholders expect returns or a piece of the pie, but maybe only if you succeed.
And the book mentions specific funds for marginalized groups.
Yes, and this is important. It mentions funds like one from Varhad Capital and another RS 500 core funds set up by DICCI chairman Milind Khandekar, specifically aimed at Dalit and Adivasi entrepreneurs. These exist to help level the playing field, address that history of discrimination in accessing capital.
That's great to know. But to get any funding, you need a solid plan, right?
Absolutely. You need a robust business plan. Banks, investors, they all want to see it. It needs projections, annual income, expected expenses, how you'll make money. Generally, they expect you to break even within about 3 years, so the plan has to show a clear path to profitability.
Okay, let's quickly touch on company structures. What are the options?
Simplest is sole proprietorship. Easy, no registration needed. Good for small stuff like a tailor shop or mechanic, but big downside. You are personally liable for all debts. Hard to scale up big time.
Okay, what's next?
Partnership firm. Also easy to set up, 2 to 20 partners, can be unregistered. But again, partners have unlimited liability for losses, often used by professionals like doctors or lawyers sharing a practice.
So still personal risk. What about limiting that?
That's where a limited liability partnership LLP comes in. Recommended especially for services. It needs registration, minimum 2 partners, have to file annual accounts, but it protects your personal assets better.
Okay, and for bigger ambitions?
Then you're looking at forming a company, either private limited or public limited. Both need formal registration with the Registrar of Companies. Private. Minimum investment, 1 lakh rupees, 2 to 50 shareholders. Can't raise money from the public. Public. Minimum 5 lakh investment, at least 7 shareholders. Can raise money from the public by selling shares. And the key thing for both company types, the business is a separate legal entity. It outlives the individual. It doesn't die if the owner does. Offers real stability and potential for growth.
That makes sense.
Okay.
And finally, besides structure, there are other permits and licenses.
Oh yeah, loads of them, depending on the business.
Mm-hmm.
Especially manufacturing. You're talking sales tax, central excise, weights and measures registration, electricity board clearances, factory inspections, pollution control board, the list goes on.
So navigating bureaucracy is just part of the deal.
Pretty much. It's complex, but it's a necessary part of building a legitimate, scalable business in India.
Wow. What an incredible journey we've unpacked today. Kalpana Saroj, I mean, from that desperate young girl to this powerhouse industrialist, she really did defy every single expectation, overcame obstacles most of us can't even imagine.
Absolutely. Her story is it's such a powerful example of resilience, isn't it? And that commitment to a purpose bigger than just herself, plus how she strategically navigated all those systemic barriers. And she never stopped learning, adapting. It really shows your past doesn't have to define your future. Radical transformation is possible.
So thinking about her dream of a Dalit owning a satellite, it's not just about the tech, is it? It's a symbol. About access, ambition, breaking those old barriers.
Exactly. It's a metaphor for reaching for something previously thought impossible.
So maybe the final thought for you listening is, what's your satellite? What seemingly impossible goal is out there for you? And maybe, just maybe, the unexpected challenges you face could actually be the fuel you need to launch it.